Happy Monday to everyone, and it's time again for an update from the city of New Hope to find out what's new in the city and what is coming up. And to get that information, we talked with the mayor, John Elder. Welcome, John. How are you today?
I'm well, Dave. How are you?
I am very good. Thanks for
Good.
joining us on a busy day for you. There is a council meeting coming up tonight on the 22nd. As we record this, we're going to get to a few items there and also a lot happening in the city. So stick with us to find out what's coming up in town. Let's begin with that council meeting, Mayor. A rather long agenda tonight, and it kicks off with a few nice presentations.
Absolutely. First thing we're going to do is we are going to be celebrating the graduation of the city cadets completing the Growth Through Opportunity program. This is a program the city engages in where they bring in two individuals who have maybe mental, developmental challenges, and they help them understand how to work in a workplace with others. They work through all the different city departments and they learn work skills as well as really how companies operate. So this was an 8-week program, and excited to have had these two be a part of our New Hope family,
Mhm.
and we'll do again the same thing next year.
Very good. And the other presentation has to do with sponsors, and they help out the safety camp each year, and you'd like to pass along a little thanks.
Yeah, we have so many businesses and people who contribute to the safety camp program. And these are places that provide food, provide money, provide services. And this is a safety 3-day outing for kids. It's a day camp, and it teaches kids about all avenues of safety: 911, fire department safety, gas line, railroads, water. So really all types of safety that kids need to know about to really be safe. And we truly could not do this without those people who made contributions and those companies that made contributions. So we're greatly appreciative, and by statute, we have to formally accept their contributions. So we'll
Also,
do that as our second thing tonight.
very good. Also coming up, some consent items, and you can look on the city's website, newhopemn.gov, to find out more about those, but also a couple items under development and planning, and something we've talked about for a while related to outdoor storage. So the city's still working on a few of those items. Tell us about those couple coming up tonight at the meeting.
Yeah, we had a conditional use permit that the council voted on earlier this year for a property at 5100 Boone Avenue North. They have since realized that their layout for outdoor storage wasn't going to work as they had wanted. So they have asked for some changes in it, and so the council will review it. The planning commission's gone over it and approved it, and so we're gonna be voting on that this evening. The second is a conditional use permit that was issued for 7100 27th Avenue North, the old Egan and Sons building, and that company ended up not moving to New Hope. So this is really just a housekeeping thing where we have to terminate that conditional use permit, because these cups, as we refer to them, they stay with the property, not the person that's utilizing the property.
Sure.
So we want to go ahead and make sure that we get that terminated so that we'll be able to have some say in what's happening in the years to come.
Couple final items coming up on the agenda for the council tonight under ordinances, resolutions. The PUPS facility, we again talked about this for the last couple of weeks to give people an idea what it is. What is the resolution that's coming up tonight?
The resolution is going to be locking us in to being one of the core users of the PUPS facility. And PUPS stands for Pets Under Police Supervision.
Mhm.
And this is what used to be known as the dog pound. Now, as things evolve, we end up having ferrets and cats and all sorts of animals
Sure.
that we have to have safe storage of, and our pups facility is where we do that. So it's undergoing some renovations. It absolutely positively needs more space, and the four core cities that are remaining with pups will be kicking in money to get that done. So we're excited about that.
Final item that we want to touch on coming up on the council tonight is the budget. And this relates to a date that the budget will be talked about again. Give us again a little overview on the budget and why this date change is important.
Yeah, on the September 8th council meeting, we adopted a resolution setting the budget hearing date for November 24th, 2025. As we looked at statute afterwards, we found out that the statute states that this hearing must occur after November 24th. So if we would hold it at that date and time, we would not be able to be meeting our statutory obligations. So we will be moving it to December 8th, I believe at 6:30 p.m. That part's not locked in, but the date of December 8th is. And so we just want to make sure everyone's aware of that.
Very good. We'll mention that again as we get closer to that date. So that's what's coming on the council tonight on the 22nd. Here's one other item that's coming up this weekend. It is a final time for something that people have been enjoying outside. What is closing up as of this Thursday?
This Thursday, the 25th, from 3 to 7 p.m. is the final New Hope Community Farmers Market for this season. So, so appreciative to the city for running this event. It's something that, I said as I was running for mayor that I wanted to see this come back. And it's something that I heard from a lot of residents that they missed. So we had it go its first year. It was, by all considerations, a huge success. And we look forward to seeing what next year brings.
Let's move ahead to community development and our weekly update to tell you some things that are happening or have happened. And this has happened. You see a picture of it here. A lot of people smiling in front of a bus. What was this occurrence, Mayor?
On September 16th, about 40 elected officials, commissioners, and staff attended a bus tour that highlighted 16 projects from the past year that the city has engaged in. And one of them was the South Water Tower, where we just completely sanded, primed, sandblasted, primed, and repainted. And the tour attendees got to actually go inside the water tower. It's amazing how many people thought that the entire tower is filled with water.
Sure.
In fact, that's not the case. There's just a gigantic bowl at the top. And so it was a great evening. We ended up finishing the evening with box lunches at Civic Center Park and Cullen's ice cream. So absolutely phenomenal. So great to spend some time with the commissioners, as well as our elected officials and, of course, our city staff that worked so hard to put this whole thing together.
Let's move ahead to scattered site housing, a couple properties to update you on. One at one end of the spectrum, the other at the other end of the spectrum. This first one is 15410 Zealand, has already been listed now. So this is ready to have some new people move in.
It is. It was put onto the MLS on September 12th and is now pending. It truly shows the quality and beauty of the homes that we're getting out of this program. And the before, when I went through that home and as we were purchasing it, such an upgrade and provides the step-up housing that the city of New Hope needs.
Other end of the spectrum is this property, 6048 Quebec, and the framing going up. So this is in those early stages of getting into a new house.
Absolutely. And the beauty is that they're hoping to complete this late fall. And with the walls going up now, the interior work can happen,
Mhm.
especially if the cold and snow hits early.
Right.
So very happy with the progress made on that.
Let's move to the police department. A few items to update you on here. And the first is the Citizens Police Academy, believe it or not, getting ready for week number 3, but we have a little recap of week 2, and it went very well.
Yep, New Hope hosted week number 2, and attendees learned about the canine program from Officer Fitzmaurice and his canine partner Nix, and they participated in multiple scenarios centered around traffic stops with Officers Larson, Gray, and Michael. And the really great thing about the police academy is the hands-on. And they actually, in the parking lot of the aquatic center, were able to engage in traffic stops, know what it feels like to walk up to a car, know what, it's
Sure.
like to deal with people in all sorts of different mentalities and situations. And it really helps explain to the attendees what officers go through.
Also in the police department, police-related incidents. What is the report from the past week?
Yep, despite the fact that 3, 4 weeks ago, our numbers were considerably down from what they have been historically over the same period of time. Last week, we had 445 police-related incidents from September 11th to the 18th, and that's pretty par for where we expect to be at. So that's great.
Final item to touch on, compliance checks. So there were some that took place. You wanted to highlight this for a minute and tell us a little bit more about what those are and how they do benefit the city.
Absolutely. As we approve liquor and tobacco licenses, and now we'll move into THC and marijuana licensing, um, we have to send in and do compliance checks to ensure that they're handling the proper steps in ensuring that these substances are not getting into the hands of minors at
Mhm.
the point of sale. And Officer Gust ran this detail. I used to run it for New Hope when I was an officer there. And it's not our goal to trick anybody.
Sure.
We're not sending in, a 19-year-old to buy alcohol with a beard and a mustache. We have to, per statute, do these checks, and the person's age that we're sending in must physically represent their correct age. If they get
Mhm.
asked for their ID, they have to provide their state issued ID. There's no fake IDs. Again, there's
Right.
there's no intent or desire to trip anybody up or be deceitful or try to get people to fail. Nobody wins when that happens. And so we hit all of our tobacco and alcohol licensed establishments. And sadly, we did have a couple of failures. And those individuals' businesses will be coming to the council to discuss moving forward with their license.
Next department to touch on today is Public Works. Let's go out to some of the parks and recreation areas. They've been busy there as the season wraps up a little bit. What have they been doing out in a park and also at the aquatic park?
Yeah, well, there's a ton of things going on in both Public Works and at the parks. And Public Works just tested the emergency well and collected well water samples for the Minnesota Department of Health. People don't realize, but we do have an emergency well in case there was some sort of an issue with our water supply from Minneapolis.
Mhm.
And so we have to test this water through the Department of Health to show that it's number one, consumable, And number two, that all of our equipment is working properly to pump. New Hope has one well, and I believe Crystal has two, and they go through the same stringent testing that we do. So we sent the stuff in, and we were advised that, in fact, the water is certainly consumable, and they could tell by the way that it was operating that the equipment was working well. So that's important to stay on
Yeah.
top of that. You never, as we know, you never know when you're going to need
Right,
that.
right. Just happened
So,
recently.
yep,
Speaking of
they
water, let's go to Little Acres Park as well and helping out with some water there, not only for people, but for the four-legged friends.
absolutely. People get their animals out for walks and whatnot, and our parks are a huge haven for that.
Yeah.
And we had a request for a drinking station for pets, and
Hmm.
so we looked at it and realized this was a very real and good request. And
Yeah.
so we installed a drinking fountain with a dog bowl at Little Acre Park. So we're happy to have that up and running. At the aquatic center, we poured a concrete pad, or we didn't, Public Works poured a concrete pad and installed a new bench at the New Hope Aquatic Center. And that was done off of a donation. So we're appreciative to that.
Also in Public Works, let's move to the infrastructure project, and we're in the restoration mode, which is a good word for people that have been going through this process. Correct, Mayor?
Oh, so true. So true. Well, the contractor continued the work last week and is working on the restoration, the turf, the using a blow mulch type um, substance for growing grass. This week, they're working on raising the sanitary manhole structures and the final concrete curb touch-up work. So again, all of this information is on the New Hope website under the 2025 construction. So great work by them, and our sincerely our most sincere appreciation to our residents for their patience
Yeah.
as we give them great streets to drive on.
Fantastic. Let's go to Park and Rec, talk about a few fun things happening here. And often you think of Park and Recs just for youth and kids, but not the case. Community Connections is some of the older folks in town having some fun. What did they do recently?
Well, they went to the Raptor Center and at the University of Minnesota, sat through a presentation and got to meet a number of the ambassador Raptors.
Hmm.
Uh, I've been on one of those trips to the Raptor Center. Super interesting, and hats off to our uh, park staff for continuing to keep interesting and engaging content for these. Another community trip went out to St. Paul to visit the James J. Hill Mansion and did a tour of Summit Avenue. So, for those that would be interested in things like that, please get a hold of our Parks and Recs and find out what they have going with that.
Let's head over to the golf course. Some things happening there amongst people golfing. We've got some other things happening on the ground in that area. Here are a few pictures. What's happening at the course?
At our last work session, uh, Reese Berthoff, our city manager, said that his philosophy is that we have to continue and reasonably better our establishments, our assets.
Hmm.
And so there's been a need for this for some time, but they put cart paths on the tee boxes for hole seven, hole eight, and hole nine with asphalt paving
Sure.
so that now we have cart paths and people aren't just driving across the grass.
Hmm.
If we can provide a more stable surface for people to operate the carts on, it is far better on the carts. It also makes walking so much better. So they moved forward with that and did a great job.
All right, get out there and golf a little this fall and enjoy the new asphalt out there. Human resources, we go. One item to touch on here, something called personnel data. What is personnel data and why is this important to have some presentations like just happened recently?
You bet. Um, Private data, public data is super complex. Chapters 12 and 13 of Minnesota state statute clearly delineate what is public data and what is private data.
Mhm.
And there are times where the statute contradicts itself. And so we have to train our staff that's tasked with releasing data, whether it's to the media, whether it's to the public, whether it's to attorneys or private investigators or whoever. They have to make sure that they're following the law. So they attended a second webinar on personal data that was presented by the Minnesota Data Practices Office. And so we're making sure that they're certainly within the law. Let's put it that way.
One other item here in HR and IT, and this is more of the IT variety, dealing with some of the display boards at a few of the city facilities. So you're talking to some vendors, I understand.
Yep, Minnesota state statute says that we have to have multiple bids unless what we're looking to purchase is a sole source item.
Mhm.
This obviously is not, and so we are meeting with multiple vendors regarding the replacement of the city's outdoor display boards at the golf course, and at the ice center.
Okay. More to come on that as those go through the process there. And speaking of getting the message out, a few things under communications to mention once again. City Services Survey, we're closing in on the deadline, aren't we?
October 1st,
Mm-hmm.
and people have heard me harp on this for quite some time.
Right.
This is going to be your last 8 days to fill out the city survey.
Mm-hmm.
If you have some feedback, we'd love to hear it.
Final note to pass along. Let's get this date on your calendar. October 23rd, a big date for the city with a couple fun events combined into one. Preview what's happening that afternoon and evening for us.
Yeah, October 23rd from 5 to 7 is New Hope City Hall Day. And that's where we will be having representatives from every department in the city, and people can come and learn about the city. Also, they, in the years gone by, have uh, given people a cup full of kidney beans,
Mm-hmm.
and there are jars for each of the different divisions within the city,
Mm-hmm.
and those beans represent your tax money. So you then provide the feedback to the city by where you think we should be spending the money. Should it go into public safety? Should it go into community development? Should it go into streets and public works? And it really helps people understand that we all have X number of beans, and yet, do you want to not fund Park and Rec? Do you not want to fund your roads? Do you not want to fund the water services? Do you not want to fund police and fire? And so it really helps people understand um, that, this is what the council does. And as we have our pot of money, where are we going to put it to? And we get a recap of that at our following work session, where we get feedback on where people place the beans and what
Yeah.
feedback they got.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a fun little activity,
Yeah.
and really helps us to understand better. Now that's from 5 to 7.
Right.
There's also going to be food trucks there, as well as all sorts of vehicles out in the parking lot. Um, there will also be an art exhibit showcasing artwork created by local kindergartners. So that's always a blast and fun to see what the kids do. And then from 7 to 8 that night, the New Hope Police Department will be hosting Trunk or Trot in the parking lot, offering fun Halloween-themed activities to conclude the evening. Great place to bring kids, and I'm sure they'll be passing out candy as well.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and if something happens and we do have inclement weather like we did last year, we'll be doing that inside at the actual City Day event.
Fantastic and good to know. And again, that's coming up on the 23rd of October. So make sure you get ready for that. Mayor, thanks once again for your time today and all of the information for the city. And good luck with the long day here in the council meeting.
Dave, thank you for your time, sir.
And stick with us. Here's a look at a few other things that are coming up in the city of New Hope. For more city stories, check out ccxmedia.org or find us on social media.